Good morning, Akbar, Jerome, Tang. And also, good morning, Gobinda.
Good morning to
Morning, everyone.
Morning. Test, test.
Bagian check-in. Cool.
sampaikan di sini. Kemudian juga jadi nanti TDT akan mendapatkan pelatihan seperti yang kemarin.
Morning, Jay.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Sir.
Tolong bawa ke headset.
Sir. How are you today, guys?
I'm
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you.
Fine, thank you.
Good morning.
What nice webinar today, I think.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Nice to meet you.
I hope today we will get a good webinar.
Thank you very much.
to you too.
Hi, my friend Uche. How are you?
Morning, everybody.
Nice to meet you too in this webinar.
Kita nggak mati, bos.
Listen, bilang hadir, tulis, now, coba. Belum lain.
Hai.
Masuk. Hello, my friend Uche. How are you today?
Musik dulu.
Can you hear me?
Belum sih masuk. Masuk. Dari hotel lawan itu.
Hello. Morning.
Di mana? Masuk di mana? Siapa? Kalau akan nanti
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
We are going
Morning.
to start. We are going to start the international webinar or symposium about horseshoe crab. And please, Mr. Agus, as the host, please mute all of the participants. Okay. First of all, I would like to make sure that all the speakers are here already. Please raise your hand. Dr. Tang, are you here, Dr. Tang?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dr. Gobinda, I can see your face.
Yeah.
Yep. Dr. J, yes, I can see him. Then Dr. Akbar John, can you say hello to everybody here? Dr. Akbar John? Akbar?
Yeah.
Okay, you are there.
Yeah, okay.
And then Professor Jerome from Hong Kong.
Hello, good morning.
Okay. And Naila. Say hello to everybody here. Naila. Naila, are you here?
What?
Okay. Then all speakers are here. Then we can start. First of all, I would like to thank all speakers who can come to this meeting, and then also to all participants. This meeting actually was planned to be offline as a part of international seminar of aquatic resource management in IPB, but due to pandemic problems, we are doing now as a online meeting. And this symposium is also part of celebration to the first day, not to the first horseshoe crab days of the world. And we have calculated it almost 5,000 participants have registered to this meeting, but we are very sorry that only only 500 will be in this room, but the others will follow through the YouTube streaming. Before we start, I would like to invite our head of department, because this international symposium is held by Department of Aquatic Resource Management of IPB in cooperation with Environmental Research Center of IPB. Please, Dr. Maya Riana Crisanti, give a short speech and open this symposium officially. Please, Dr. Maya.
Okay, thank you, Professor Yusli. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Morning.
My name is Maya Riana Crisanti. I am head of Department of Aquatic Resource Management from Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, IPB. I can see that there are so many participants. Thank you for your enthusiasm to attend the symposium. As has been declared in Guangxi, China, tomorrow is an International Horseshoe Crab Day, which is celebrated on June 20, 2020. This is International Symposium event in one of the events initiated to celebrate the first International Horseshoe Crab Day. Hopefully, with this event, many people will be more concerned about the research development of horseshoe crab in several regions in Asia. Horseshoe crab are living fossil animals that present 480 million years ago. They have important role in coastal area around the world. Also in Indonesia, horseshoe crab have become symbol of long-lasting love. We call in local name as Mimi Lan Mintuno in Japanese, or Mimi and Mintuno. In Indonesia, blood of horseshoe crab has not been used massively, and the availability of the database of this animal in Indonesia is also still limited. As we know that Indonesia has 3 types of horseshoe crab. However, this gift is not accompanied by data availability of this animal. Regarding of the IUCN status of this animal in March 2019, 3-spine horseshoe crab was just assessed as endangered species. At this moment, I will present several important things that are mandated for all of us that stated in horseshoe crab declaration in Guangxi, China last year. Hope this will remind us and keep our spirit in order to preserve and maintain for more sustainability of horseshoe crab around the world. We call for strengthening of policy making and better enforcement. upgrade the conservation status of horseshoe crab in different countries and regions, and promote the revision of relevant laws and policies for better management and conservation, strengthen enforcement efforts on illegal harvesting and trading of horseshoe crab to reduce direct threats. We look forward to more scientific investigation and research, namely global distribution, population, and habitat status of poor horseshoe crab need long-term scientific investigation so as to provide evidence for better management and conservation. We advocate sustainable management of horseshoe crab, cow and law industries should regulate their blood extraction procedure to reduce mortality rates of harvested horseshoe crab and release properly afterward. Horseshoe crab utilization should be greatly reduced or stopped in area where horseshoe crab population are crisis. Now, horseshoe crab consumption campaign should be promoted to promote in crisis area to educate people not to eat or to sell horseshoe crab for food. We should reduce domestic and international trade of horseshoe crab. We suggest to restore natural population and protect their critical habitat. In Asia, we encourage more artificial breeding and release to restore fragile natural population of threatened horseshoe crab. We shall identify and protect more key habitat for horseshoe crab to breed, hatch, and grow up, and we shall promote the establishment and better management of more horseshoe crab reserves. We will promote public and multi-party participation in horseshoe crab conservation. We shall carry out more public education or participatory activities to deepen the public and stakeholders' understanding of horseshoe crab conservation and encourage their engagement in conservation action. We hope everyone can become horseshoe crab ambassador. Let us wish the best for horseshoe crab together. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Thank you, Dr. Maya.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Because I can see our friends from USA, Mark Burton, and his representative of IUCN. Please, Mark, give some words as a representative of IUCN. Please, Mark. 5 minutes.
Thank you, UC. I'm delighted to see so many people on this webinar and so much interest in the conservation of horseshoe crabs in Asia. As mentioned, we have recently listed Tachypleus tridentatus as endangered on IUCN Red List, and our group is hard at work updating the status of T. gigas and Carcinoscorpius rotundicauda. So it's very important that we have as much information as possible from all our friends in Indonesia and elsewhere in Asia. So thank you very much for hosting this webinar, and I look forward to hearing what everyone has to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'm very happy to see you here. Then, everyone, we will start. But before we start, I have to say some rules. During the presentation of each speaker, all of you except the speaker should mute your microphone. Then after the speaker finished his or her presentation, there will be a question answer session. And then for those who want to ask or give a comments, you can just raise your hand and I will appoint you to be the questioner. First, I will invite the first speaker, Dr. John Akbar from International Islamic University, Malaysia. Please, Dr. Akbar, you may share your presentation slide, please, and start.
I'm sorry, doctor. The host disabled the participant screen sharing. You may have
to
enable it.
Oh, Agus, could you please make the share screen enable for speakers?
Okay, please try again.
Yes, please, Dr. Akbar.
Done.
Great.
I hope everyone can see it clearly.
Sure. Just make it as a slideshow, please.
Yeah. Is it fine?
Yep.
That's great. So Bismillahir-Rahmanir Rahim. Thank you everyone for joining this wonderful symposium. It's my honor to be here as a presenter, and thanks to the the organizing committee for inviting me to give a short talk on this aspect. And I'll be trying to cover some aspects of the population status of horseshoe crab in Malaysia, but I will also touch up few information regarding the information on horseshoe crab status and the population status in other Asian countries so that we can learn some lessons out of it. Without further, I would like to emphasize few points before I start my presentation. It is very clear and that the horseshoe crab numbers of Lemurus polyphemus in United States is far more higher than what we have what we have in Asia, all the three species put together. Okay, when we talk with when people, researchers from United States presented, and they say like they have 20 million horseshoe crabs and they will speak in millions, but what we speak in thousands. So first we need to understand this point because conserving any species which are in super abundance with well-regulated fishery commission is much easier compared to the species which are less abundant or also super scattered. That one we need to understand it first. With these points, I would like to move on to my slides. And if you can have a look at Malaysia, this is one of the beautiful country, by the way, and this has a coastline of about 4,700 kilometers and 2,600 kilometers in the Peninsula Malaysia, and the rest is in the East Malaysia, because Malaysia is like two parts, which is Peninsula Malaysia as well as the East Malaysia. And good thing is this coastline of Malaysia inhabits all the three species, especially the T. gigas, Tachypleus gigas, and the Carcinoscarpus rotendicorda, which you can find it in the Peninsular Malaysia, while the distribution of T. tridentatus, which is Tachypleus tridentatus, tri-spine horseshoe crab, which we consider as endangered right now according to the IUCN Red List, can only be found in the East Malaysia, while other three species also found in the East Malaysian region. And in Malaysia, the most important thing is this is considered as a fishery commodity. Means that just like other animal, this is also considered as a species. That is, like if you want to collect the crabs, you can collect it. If you want to collect the horseshoe crabs, you can collect it. No fishery regulation. This is because of one major reason. This is because of a major reason, which is the number of horseshoe crabs population in the wild is not yet determined, except very few studies that you will come across it. So it is considered as a fishery commodity, and it has a restricted migration within. So the population is very much restricted to one particular zone and do not cross the border. So that's how the populations are, especially in the case of T. gigas. We already proved through some publications and etc. And there are very few studies, I would say like less than 6 papers addressed the total number of horseshoe crab population in Malaysia, and especially in very few places as well. I mean, the location is very limited. And dramatic decrease in the market, dramatic increase in the market value, which is about 7 times higher. Within this data is actually presented based on the last 10 years data. So 2010 to 2020, there is a dramatic increase, which is 7 times increase in the market value from just as low as 0.5. I mean, half a cent, half a dollar to like $4 right now. And drastic decrease in the population size between 2010 to 2020 that we will discuss in the further slides. And historical evidence also said that the population of horseshoe crab in Malaysia has greatly reduced. And you can see that I made a triangle and also circled it because this is how the major hub point works in Malaysia. For example, as you can see, one is in the two-part in the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia, one is in the Malacca west coast. When the crabs are being collected from any part, it goes to the Johor station, which is the hub point from where they are being exported to Thailand in thousands usually. And if you happen to come across the studies, we already presented this one in our previous publications, and there are about 44 published papers as well as the theses and etc. that you can come across from Malaysian researchers. And most of the studies represented the population dynamics and etc. rather than the total number of horseshoe crab being recorded in each few places. That is clearly defined in our previous literature review paper. And this is the most updated distribution map for the three horseshoe crab species in Malaysia, which is also updated from the previously published paper. And there are more spots being recorded, which are the nesting grounds and also spawning grounds that we have updated in this particular figure, where you can see all the 3 species can be found in all in Peninsular Malaysia, where some of them are coexistent. For example, T. gigas and as well as CR, you can find it co-occur in some places. For example, in Pahang as well as in other places, which are considered as the best nesting grounds right now. And some figures that I wanted to emphasize, I deliberately included the issue of Singapore because this is the nearest neighbor to Malaysia, and what we share in Johor, which is in the southern part of Malaysia, Peninsular Malaysia, that you can find it in Singapore as well. So I deliberately included it. And if you happen to come across the studies from the Singapore, especially on the Carcinus carpus species, they found the total number of population is from 500 to 3,500 horseshoe crabs. And this study has been conducted for more than last 10 years, starting from 2007 until 2017. And there are many groups involved in it, like the Nature Society of Singapore and a few other Polytechnic College as well. And they addressed the population, the abundance of CR is like 0.57 to 0.5. I'm sorry. Okay, like 1 horseshoe crab per meter square, especially in the case of CR. But in case of T. gigas, it's already, they cannot find it anymore, like 30 to 60 crabs they found it, and that's why it's considered as one of the endangered species in Singapore right now. But CR is a vulnerable one. But in case of Malaysia, there are a few studies, thanks to Dr. Farida and group, as well as a few other researchers. They addressed the population size of horseshoe crab in Pahang, which is the Peninsular Malaysia, which is about 7,000 crabs. This is based on the capture, mark, recapture method. Okay, we need to understand the method first, because there are different researchers use a different method. For example, line transect method or the belt transect method, especially 250 meters square the area, and capture recapture method, capture mark recapture method. So from this they identified the number of horseshoe crabs in the Pahang area is about 7,000. Another one place is about 10,000 crabs. And this study was conducted for the 4-month time between 2011 and 2012. So this is not representing the year of publication. This was published in 2015 in our first horseshoe crab book, but this study was conducted in 2011 to 2012 for the 4-month time from December to March. While if you have come across the study by Noor Jawahir, which was conducted between 2013 to 2014, around 8 months time, in 3 different locations in the East Malaysia, Sabah Sarawak region, where they identified the total number of individual per meter square. They expressed in hectares, but I converted into meter square, which you can find is extremely low, which is like all representing the T. gigas population, T. tridentatus population from the East Malaysian coast. As you can see, the number of individuals per meter square is like 0.00016, like 0.00005, which is extremely lower even when we compare it with Singapore. And also there are a few studies by Manka, which also address about 1,095 crabs, which also address, this was collected from 2014 to 2015 September, around 1 year time. But what we can understand here is that when we follow the recapture method, as long as we collect back all the crabs that we mark them, then the analysis is extremely good. But in case of Sabah Tawau, that you can see the last sentence, the Manka et al. Addressed that the number of crabs being recaptured is extremely low. So that reflected in the calculation that gives a positive result, but whether it has what we need to know is it has to be validated again and again with a long time sampling. In case of other places in Sarawak, where the Noor Jawahir addressed the issue of using the gill net, they deploy it and collect it after 24 hours, and then they count it and they multiply, which is like line transect method, by the way, which is also very limited study. It's also because of many reasons, like number one is the budget constraint. It's not easy to get the project funding. That's why it's also very difficult. There are many other reasons. And these 3 different methods, like line transect, belt transect, or recapture method, there is no standardization of all the 3 methods to make sure that what exactly the population of horseshoe crab in the wild in Malaysia right now. And I also mentioned about the lesson learned from the mainland China, Hong Kong, Japan, and Taiwan, that I will address it in the next slide. And this is also a few other studies where we addressed the total number of catch by hand picking as well as net catch between 2012 to 2016, where we found like less number of crabs as well. But these are the data collected by the researchers. Also the personal interview with the fishermen. But if you happen to come across the real scenario, it is slightly different, but which is more, more number of crabs being collected by the fishermen for export purpose, especially to Thailand, because of the lucrative demand value. And the calculation based on a personal interview and the logbook of the fishermen between 2010 to 2020, what I mentioned is the number of fishermen involved and the number of mediators involved in each state. I consider only 3 states right now: Pahang, Malacca, and also Johor. Some places where there are 2 mediators, they collect the crabs and then they export, they collect the crabs from the fishermen, and then they export to the Thailand. But and if you happen to see the average number of crabs being collected per catch means every month, 112 crabs of Pahang and 458 crabs for Malacca, and also Johor is a bit more. But this is more complicated because Johor is acting as the hub point where the crabs collected from Pahang and Malacca being transported to Johor, and the number of fishermen being actively involved varies from place to place because mediator contact the fishermen and they